That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
My last girlfriend, she told me once, "I wish you were a felon rather than a Republican." She said, "I have no problem." She dated a felon, or she had a relationship with a felon. She said, "It'd be much easier for me if you were a felon than a Republican and an Orthodox Jew." So, yeah. I mean that nails it.
That nails it. So if anybody ever asks you, how come it is that the liberal Jews are so hypocritical and they're the biggest racists and everything they do seems to go counter to Judaism? And the answer is they're commanded to do it. All right.
That's good. There's a lot in this week's Torah portions, last 6 chapters of the book of Numbers, about vows. And thinking back to like desperate times in my life when I've made vows because I was just so desperate. I remember I was basically bedridden by chronic fatigue syndrome from 1988 to 1994, and many times during those years I said, "God, if you'd only make me well, I'd just totally devote my life to you." And I've made a partial recovery from chronic fatigue, and I have not totally devoted my life to God over the past 15, 16 years. I'm also thinking about when I was getting into Judaism, I was Shomer Negiah for about 2 years. And so desperate for touch that I'd hug trees.
You were a tree hugger.
I was a tree hugger.
That's a true liberal thing.
I just hug trees, and it just felt so good. And then I met this girl who had really large breasts, and I kind of like I went from Shomer Negiah to right in there, real quick. And I remember I was living with my parents at the time, and my dad caught me in the shower with another girl, and he said, "Boy, you've sure come a long way from not touching women." So, I had all these vows, and I didn't really live up to them. So, like I said, this struck me hard because there's like a human. I think it's a pretty common human tendency that when things are going bad, you say, "God, if you'll just help me get out of this mess, I'll just totally devote my life to you."
Okay.
It's not a very Jewish attitude, because the Jewish thing is that you do what God commands, and with faith that there will be a blessing in it, but you don't treat God as some kind of celestial butler that, to use Prager's terminology, who God, bring me wealth, bring me health.
Right.
That's not the Jewish approach to God.
Okay.
Am I correct? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I do, actually. The first thing is that you were talking about how you wanted to be Shomer Negiah, and you consider that a vow. And I don't think that's a vow.
No, it's not. It wasn't literally a vow.
I'll tell you why that's not
a vow.
Okay, here's the thing about a vow. Okay, let's understand. It's called Nadar. Okay, they're called vows. A vow, let's break it down for people who don't know. A vow is something that's it's permissible to do. It could be really good for you, but you're not commanded to do it. A vow. I would like to take a vow that I'm going to reduce the number of carbohydrates I eat on a daily basis, or something like that. Complex carbs or something like that, right? Well, there's no mitzvah in the Torah that says you have to do the South Beach diet or whatever, right? You don't have to do that, right?
Right.
So if you take it upon yourself, that's great. Guy goes into, hey, go, make yourself a little healthier. Torah says to make yourself healthy, but it doesn't say how, right? And then you do that, and that's your vow. And if you stop doing it, then, oh boy, you're stuck because, you took it upon yourself to do it.
Right.
That's not the same as Shomer Negiah. Shomer Negiah is a halacha of Shulchan Aruch. That's part of Judaism. You're commanded to do it. We were commanded to do it at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai. We took upon ourselves a shavua over there. We're required to do it from the time we're born. So if you don't do it, it's not that you broke a vow, it's that you're transgressing a halacha. Okay, so that would not be a vow. A vow is something that you're allowed to do, but you don't have to do it.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that. That was my thought about that.
Yeah, that's great. Why is the Torah so strict about vows? I mean, you start reading these Torah portions, and there's a lot in there about vows.
Why is it? Well, there's like 3 things. There's like a shavus. There's an oath. Well, it's like there's different things. Like a person says I swear or something. They're not. You shouldn't do that at all.
Yeah.
Right. That's like taking God's name in vain. now it's like a lower thing. It's like why with the vows? What's going on? Why is it that it's like we're trying to learn that you don't shoot your mouth off. Don't put your foot in your mouth. Don't say I'm going to do such and such and such and such. I'll give you a great example. Everybody always says like "belinator." You ever heard that expression?
Yes.
Belinator. Without a vowel, belinator. Like this is good for people in Los Angeles. Let's do lunch.
Yeah.
Okay? They go, yeah, let's do lunch. Like, when? Like, you go, totally. When? Like, tomorrow, we'll do lunch, totally. Okay, we're there. Like, when? 12. And then you know what's going to happen? Neither of them are going to show up. I tell you right now, neither of them are showing up, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times have I been sitting there like an asshole at some restaurant or, even when I'll tell you something really, I was doing comedy all the time, right? And like people on MySpace would like hit your event, and like you have like I got 250 friends that said they're definitely going to be at that show, right? And I was talking to like this woman, and she was at BB King's, and she was the booker. She goes, "How many friends? How many people said they're coming?" And I said, "I got 250." She goes, "That means 25."
Right.
Like, what do you mean 250 people? She goes, "No. Everybody who's got you get one. It's like one for. This is LA.
Yeah.
People say, yeah, we're coming to it." But they don't show up. There's like two different types of people when it comes to these things. There's like the people who say they're coming, and then there's the people who come, and it's like two different things. And she was right, and I've seen this. In LA, if you get a confirmation that somebody's going to show up, that doesn't mean they're going to be there. I saw this even at my own engagement party. But it's like, oh yeah, Rabbs, I'm there. How can you fuck with me for my engagement party? How can you tell me in my face you're going to come and then you don't come? And it's like, like 1/3 of the people that said they were going to come to my engagement party actually showed up. Right. I mean, how rude can you be, right? I mean, like, I know who you are. I know if you're going to show up or not. Right. Why would you say? But that's just how people are, right? And that is called a nader. You say to somebody that you're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, you're now forced to show up.
Right.
So the way you get around that is you say beli nader. You say without a vowel, I will try to get there. With God helps, I will try to be there. Beli nader. I am not vowing there. And this is why I think Torah spends so much time about it. Is because there's a sense of hurt. You're hurting the other person. It's like it's genevas das. You make someone think a certain thing, and you're stealing that from them. You make them think that there's all these people coming to see you perform, and they're not going to show up. Mm-hmm. You make these people think they're coming to your engagement party, like you're cutting up special amounts of cucumber salads or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. They're not really coming. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I know? Like, maybe like 500 people say they're going to go watch me in this video, but like, right? How many people are in the pond tonight? I don't know. 5. Okay, so there you go.
And 2 of them are me.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the thing about what did I say about vows?
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
The vow when you say, well, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to cut out the carbs or whatever. I don't think you're really going to do any damage to anybody, but it's a bad habit to be in.
The Torah seems to be concerned about people who take God's name. Like, that's a big deal. You take God's name, you invoke God, you represent God to the world, but then you screw around on that. That's a big deal. So don't invoke God's name if you're not going to be right. You're not going to be righteous.
Yeah.
That's part of this.
Like, don't drag his name through the mud.
Yeah. Like, joke around, but don't joke around when you take God's name.
Right.
I think that's part of it. It's also one of the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Don't take God's name in vain. This came to my mind when we were talking there, and I don't think it's directly in these 2 Torah portions, but I like to go off in left field, so I like spontaneity.
Did you mention to everybody there's 2 Torah portions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The last 6 chapters of Numbers and Torah portions Matot and Masei. How do Orthodox Jews regard non-Jews?
Wait, what's an Orthodox Jew? I hate that term.
How do people who identify as observant Jews? So I'm not just talking good observant Jews, but
right.
The whole range.
Torah observant Jews.
Yeah, Torah observant Jews.
Okay, how do we view non-Jews?
Yeah.
We look at them as ben nochad. What's it spelled? What?
Keep going.
Okay, a ben nochad, okay, it goes like this. Before the Torah was given to the Jews, everybody was a descendant from Noah, from the time of the flood, right? He had all the